Let's start at the beginning, at the origin, because understanding where this animal came from means understanding why it is so different from anything you have ever seen. While the dogs we know were being domesticated over thousands of years to please humans, obey commands, fetch things, and sit on your lap, the Tibetan Mastiff was being forged in one of the most brutal environments on the planet, the Tibetan Plateau at more than 4,000 meters. Where oxygen is scarce, the cold is lethal, and the predators were called Himalayan wolves, leopards, and bears. Its job was not to please, it was kill or be killed. For centuries, these dogs were kept chained during the day to increase tension and aggression, and released at night to patrol Buddhist monasteries. They were not trained to follow orders. They were selected to make decisions on their own, in the dark, against creatures bigger than themselves. And that is exactly the past you will face when you bring one of these puppies into your home. But before we get to the part that most owners discover far too late, I need to explain something about this animal's biology. When you look at a Tibetan Mastiff, you're looking at a living shield, so that enormous mane is not aesthetic. It is thermal armor developed over millennia of survival. Its bone structure is incredibly dense. An adult male can easily exceed 70 kilos. But the biological detail that separates this dog is the female goes into heat only once a year. That is a primitive trait shared with wolves. This cycle ensures puppies are born in spring. This animal's body operates with 10,000-year-old programming. You do not have a pet. You have a domesticated predator. And when I say domesticated predator, I am not being dramatic. I am being literal. The Tibetan Mastiff is, by nature, a nocturnal animal. It was bred to work at night, to bark at every shadow. In your residential neighborhood at 2 a.m., it will work like a conflict generator with your neighbors. Owners who do not know this bring home a cute puppy and discover they have a biological alarm system with no off switch. The Tibetan Mastiff understands the command, "Come here," perfectly. It simply evaluates whether what you are asking is more important. That is not disobedience, it is guardian intelligence. It was selected to trust its own judgment, not a human's judgment. Now comes the part that explains the absurd price of nearly $2 million, and why that value created one of the biggest crises. In 2014, China was experiencing an unprecedented economic boom, and along with money came status symbols. One puppy was sold for $1.9 million. Buyers arrived at the event in limousines with escorts. The result was a breeding frenzy. Unscrupulous breeders crossed them with other breeds to increase size. When the bubble burst, thousands were abandoned. But if you are still here, you are probably thinking, okay, but what about health? How much does it cost to maintain an animal like this? The weight places brutal pressure on its joints. Hip and elbow dysplasia are common. Surgical treatment can easily exceed $15,000. And the coat? Once a year, this dog blows its coat. It sheds its entire undercoat in a massive molt that will cover every centimeter of your house. Add the food for a 70-kilo animal and a fence at least 2 meters high, because it will jump over anything lower. So, who should have a Tibetan Mastiff? Not the owner who wants an impressive dog for social media. Not someone who wants an affectionate pet. The Tibetan Mastiff is for someone who understands that respect is not the same as obedience. For someone with space, patience, and calm leadership. There is a Tibetan saying that the Doggo does not choose an owner. It chooses who is worthy of being guarded by it. Like the video if this changed the way you see this breed. Subscribe so you do not miss next week's video on another surprising breed.